So look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah! The Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes have reportedly signed one of the biggest named and best named undrafted rookie free agents from this class in Ohio State linebacker Steele Chambers. Now, Steele Chambers has been a staple of the Ohio State defense for the past 3 seasons, causing turnovers, big negative plays, as well as stuffing a ton of rushing lanes to prevent the offense from rushing and being a leader and a captain to one of the nation's top defenses over the last 3 seasons. Now, Steele Chambers currently stands at 6'1", 220 pounds. Many people believe that Chambers was a draft-eligible player. Many people actually had a draftable grade on the Ohio State linebacker, a player that was super productive in the Big Ten, as well as somebody that is a great leader on the football field. Seems like a player you would take within the top 156, but unfortunately for him, but fortunately for the Lions, he did end up falling through the free agency process and ended up signing with the Detroit Lions as an undrafted rookie free agent. Now, Steele Chambers is not the most athletically gifted player, only a 4.63 RAS score, which isn't very good, running a 4.75 40-yard dash, a 4.23 shuttle, but I do think he has a lot of really good short area quickness. I think his ability to move laterally is really strong, and his ability to, be at the right place at the right time is a really good quality that he has. Working towards the line of scrimmage, he seems to move quite a bit faster, and moving laterally seems to be much quicker than you would expect based off of his RAS scores, but the long speed certainly is a concern, and it has showed up on tape time and time again, particularly in some of the Michigan games. Now, taking a look at his entire RAS score, as I said, a 4.63 RAS score, measuring at 6'1", 226 officially at the combine. 19 reps on the bench press is not very good. A 33.5-inch vertical was probably one of his best testing measurables. Even that wasn't great. His broad jump of 9.4 is not very good. His 40 time of 4.75 is just about average, just slightly above average for the linebacker position. His 10-yard and 20-yard splits, though, were not very good, well below league average at a 1.68 10-yard split. His shuttle time was good as a 4.23, his best athletic testing score of the day, which I think makes a lot of sense. As I said, the lateral movement, the change of direction is something that I think Steele Chambers does really well. His 3-cone drill was above average as well. So his agility score is good. His speed is just okay. His explosiveness is just okay, but his size is a little small, as I said, being just 6 foot, 226 pounds. Now, Steele Chambers, despite not being the biggest or the fastest or the strongest linebacker in college football, over the last 3 years has been really, really productive for the Ohio State Buckeyes, totaling over 208 tackles in his 3 seasons at linebacker after converting from running back, having 13 tackles for losses, 3 sacks, 4 interceptions, 5 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, as well as a defensive touchdown from last season. You are not going to find many linebackers in a 3-year process that are more productive at every level of the football, right? A linebacker that has sacks, tackles for losses, interceptions, passes defended, all just normal tackles as well. You're not going to find a much more productive linebacker in the Big Ten or in the NCAA for that matter. Steele Chambers was everywhere for the Buckeyes defense. He was really the leader. I would argue he was one of the best players on that Buckeye defense. And again, over the last 2 to 3 seasons, they have been one of the most productive and one of the best defensive units that college football had to offer. And a lot of it started and ran through Steele Chambers, the captain and the linebacker. Now, Steele Chambers is a very young player at the position. He switched from running back to linebacker after his redshirt freshman year. Played 2 seasons at running back for the Buckeyes and 3 seasons at linebacker. But despite him being pretty young and pretty naive to the position, I do think that he does bring quite a bit to the table. Again, his sideline to sideline speed is something that not a lot of linebackers can match. He is relentless in his pursuit. He is always in the right spot at the right time. And I think that running back helped him play linebacker. I think he reads blocking schemes like a running back from the defensive side of the ball, meaning he knows exactly where the running back is going to be. He knows exactly what holes is going to hit. He knows exactly what blocking scheme is going to work up. And more times than not, Steele Chambers is right there to make a play on the running back every single time. On top of that, he has 4 interceptions and 5 passes defended, so he isn't bad in the passing game either. Again, being a running back, I think he understands some passing concepts really well, and he's able to be in the right spot at the right time to take the football away. He has, I believe, 7 takeaways for the Buckeyes defense over the last 2 years, which isn't a ton, but he's still certainly very productive for an inside linebacker and a player that is still very, very young to the position. His instincts are really solid. I just said, taking it, reading it like a running back, reading defensive schemes and playing the defense like a running back, I think helps him out a lot. I think it gets him to the right spot on the right time, gets him in right positions to make plays, and I think he's athletic enough to make those plays. His ability to tackle is really strong. Steele Chambers does not miss very many tackles. If he's in the right spot, if he's in front of the running back, more times than not, he is going to put the running back on the ground, and that is a very good thing for any defense, right? A linebacker that can be in the right spot, be in the right place at the right time and tackle is great for any defense. And even though I don't think he's going to necessarily start on the defensive side of the ball for the Lions, obviously because they have Campbell and Anzalone and Barnes and Rodriguez and Jalen Reeves-Maybin, I do think he could be a really strong special teams player, and I do think that Steele Chambers does have a little bit to bring to the Detroit Lions as a special teams player. He's a good leader from Ohio State. He brings great energy to any part of the team that he's on, any part of the, whether it be offense, defense, or special teams, brings a ton of energy, a ton of leadership, a guy that Ohio State obviously trusted a ton to switch to the other side of the ball and start for them immediately. And I think that even though Steele Chambers is probably going to only bring special teams value to the Detroit Lions, I do think he'll replace Anthony Pittman as the linebacker 6, a player that probably won't ever start or play for the Detroit Lions defense, right? Again, I don't see him beating out guys like Anzalone and Campbell and Rodriguez and Barnes and Maybin for that starting spot. But I do think he'll be a great preseason linebacker. I do think he'll be a great special teams contributor. And honestly, I think if there was a severe number of injuries to this linebacking core and Steele Chambers had to play a little bit, I think he could potentially carve out a role for himself just as a early down run-stopping linebacker. And I think he does have a lot of the tools to be a good linebacker in the NFL, right? I know he's not the most athletic. I know he's not going to run the fastest or jump the highest or lift the heaviest, but he's a guy that's going to show up every single day. He's going to work hard. And I think he can add quite a bit of value to the special teams unit. And I think that's really where his value lies. It's where Sony Vaki's value lies. It's where some of the other undrafted rookie free agents and their values lie, right? That special teams ability, that leadership that he displayed at Ohio State, that energy that he brought at Ohio State are all characteristics that will help him make the roster. And even though he is going to be linebacker 6, might end up on the practice squad, I do think there's a chance, and I do think there's actually a really solid chance that Steele Chambers beats out some of the other players on the roster, that he's going to be at the very worst a special teams contributor from the practice squad. And I think at the very least, as an undrafted rookie free agent, that's all you can really ask for at a position where you don't need a starter, you don't need a star, you just need some quality depth in a special teams guy. And that's what Steele Chambers is going to bring to the Detroit Lions. So with all that being said, that is my analysis on undrafted rookie free agent Steele Chambers. The linebacker from Ohio State, formerly the running back from Ohio State, is now a Detroit Lion. He switched to the other side and now plays some Michigan football. With all of that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know down in the comments below how you feel about Steele Chambers as a prospect, how you feel about Steele Chambers as potentially a special teams contributor, what you want to see out of him in the preseason, and of course, whether or not you think Steele Chambers could potentially make the roster in Detroit. I'd be very curious what you guys have to say and what you guys think about it. With all of that being said, that's all I got for you guys right now. Thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, and as always, go Lions.